I've got a bit of free time today, so I'm going to get back onto the grader. The next step is working out how I'm going to mount the new controls, what I'm going to do about the hydraulic oil tank reservoir, and basically planning. Don't think I'll get to cut any steel today, but we'll see how it goes. So these are the new components I'm going to be installing. Firstly, I've got 2 blocks of 3 hydraulic valves. So they'll be running all of the hydraulic rams on the machine, and I've got spares there as well. So I'll probably have the blade lift on these 2 and the scarifier, which is this guy, on the 3rd. These functions on the left side, I will most likely add a hydraulic ram on the side shift for the circle, and I'm planning on putting a hydraulic tilt on the blade as well. Unfortunately, this machine doesn't have side shift, and I can't make the circle powered either without changing the whole circle. So I'll be putting in at least 2 more functions in due course, and I'll have another spare for something else. Who knows? I might, I don't know, might do something else later on with it. I also have a flow divider, which is intended to feed hydraulic oil off to the steering wheel and the hydraulic ram for the steering. So these have been recovered off an old International harvester. As far as I know, they still work and they're good. And they're a cheap solution to put hydraulic steering on this machine rather than the old mechanical steering, which is an absolute bear. So what I have to do in due course is adapt that hydraulic ram in here. See, there's the old steering arm. So the ram will have to work with all of this. I don't exactly know how I'm going to do it as yet, but my feeling at the moment is that I'll probably delete these components from the old steering box and mount the ram up here so that it drives the steering bar directly. That's probably the simplest way to do it, but I'll have to plan that out, look at the attachment points and so forth in due course. So the next question is how all of this is going to be mounted and how the hydraulics will be run. I've never liked having the hydraulic oil tank in the cabin. It's only a small cabin, there's not much space, and it just, it's in the way, it's a pain. So I'm thinking that I might, rather than have the hydraulic reservoir in the cab, I might move it down underneath on the left side. There's space here between the carrier for the scarifier and the brake mechanism, which I have to say I really like about this machine. It's easy to get to, like that's the brake. It's just on the front of the gearbox, so it's really easy to see if it's worn out or if it needs adjusting and to get to it. So I think I'll fabricate a new hydraulic oil reservoir tank here. Now, you could be worried about that because it's underneath the machine. There's a risk that maybe it gets damaged or something like that. But the reality is that the scarifier is always going to be in front of that tank. So I think that's enough of a protection. Well, between the scarifier and the blade. Now, yes, there's a possibility that like a tree root might flick up or something like that. But if I make the hydraulic tank like this one in something fairly heavy, I don't think there's going to be a problem. Like, okay, maybe it gets hit by a rock or a stick or something, but if it's 5mm steel there's not going to be any damage. It'll be fine. So that's my plan. Once I've eliminated the hydraulic oil tank, I also need to build a new support for the steering wheel and the hydraulic spools. So I'm thinking that I can just reuse the old mount for the previous column for the steering wheel and the tank. So once that's gone, I've got free rein there. I've got a huge big thick bit of steel that I can swing a new pillar off, and then I just have to make up a T-shaped structure of some sort that the wheel will mount to and that will also support the spools. So the spools bolt up via 3 corner bolts, so that tells me I need a flat plate on the top of this thing, or 2 bars or something for it to attach to. And the wheel, so the wheel has these bolt holes on the side, so that used to obviously be a steering column of some sort. So maybe I could fabricate something along the same lines, a box. Well, actually, I think a better plan would be just a couple of plates. So if I have a column coming up from the floor and I extend it with a couple of plates, then they can just slip straight inside there and it can be bolted together. So that would be a simple solution. I'm going to have to draw this up in due course, and then find some steel and do some cutting and welding. Anyway, that's just a short update on where I am with this project. I will hopefully be getting back onto working on this seriously in the next week or so. I'm really looking forward to doing that and making some progress and sharing it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you later.